5-21. Peyton Manning was 25 of 35, 286 yards and 3 touchdowns. All 3 touchdowns to Emmanuel Sanders, who had 9 catches for 120 yards. After the game, Manning talked about his receiving corps.
I feel like on any given night, it could be anybody's night. And so I think that's the reason those guys are playing so well, because they're all running full speed routes because they know the ball might come to them. We do a good job spreading the ball around. Adam moves guys around, tries to create different matchups. We're trying to get everybody involved. Certainly sometimes it's going to be one guy's night over another.
So Rivers threw for 252 yards. He had 3 touchdowns as well. 2 picks, though. Chargers were outmatched, outplayed on both sides of the ball. After last night, everything you've seen thus far this season, Stephen A., are you thinking about changing your Super Bowl pick from the Patriots?
I'm not going to lie to you. I am thinking about it. I got to admit it. Skip, I know you're going to get on me. So be it. I'm thinking about it. Haven't made my decision yet. You know I jumped off the Saints bandwagon after I saw Rob Ryan's defense. I'm just done with them. So that was my NFC pick. My AFC pick was the New England Patriots. But as I'm watching this Denver Broncos team continue to flourish this year, I have to acknowledge to you, I've been incredibly impressed. We all know what Peyton Manning brings to the table. We understand that Emmanuel Sanders is a significant upgrade to that of Eric Decker, witnessed by this 3 touchdowns last night. What was it, 109 yards? 120 yards receiving. I just look at him with Demaryius Thomas, who also had 105 receiving yards. You got Julius Thomas, you got Wes Welker. But then you look at their running game. Obviously, with your offensive line intact, with Klay back there because he was out pretty much most of last year. You're protecting Peyton Manning, but you're also run blocking effectively. We know that Noshawn Moreno is no longer with them. We saw that Monty Ball was supposed to be his replacement. Now you've got this kid Hillman, who rushed for, 109 yards last night. But it's the combination of Hillman along with the physical Thompson. I'm looking at the combination of these 2 guys. And you know what? They can run the football effectively. So that adds another dimension and another weapon to their already potent offensive attack. And then you look at what's transpiring on the defensive side of the ball, Skip Bayless, with DeMarcus Ware still making an impact, with T.J. Ward, with Aqib Talib, and this kid Von Miller. We've heard his name on many occasions in the past. Not only was he suspended last year, but he also wasn't that healthy even when he came back. He's 100% this year. And he's playing like it. He's playing like it. He's one of the game's leading sack leaders. He gets after the quarterback. He does a lot of good things. And the combination of all of those things, I'm looking at Denver. They're a much more physical team than a team we saw in the Super Bowl right now. John Elway appears to have upgraded his roster, his squad. And you combine that with Peyton Manning being Peyton Manning and willing to maximize the potential around him. I'm not going to lie to you. They look virtually unbeatable right now. They really do.
So are you switching your pick?
No, not yet. Not official. I want to see over the next couple of weeks or so how New England looks in response to Denver elevating its game. I really, really do. And I'm not ignoring Indianapolis either with Andrew Luck.
Okay. I am not going to lie to you either. Last night, when that game ended, I thought hard about switching my Super Bowl pick. I'm with you. I'm going to hang in. I'm going to cling to it by my fingernails. But I don't know, Stephen A. This is a juggernaut right now. Lord have mercy. This team is playing at a high level on both sides of the ball. And I appreciate that you brought up John Elway, because they got embarrassed in the Super Bowl. I could use all of your words for it, but I'm just going to go with embarrassed. And John Elway said, we have to get faster. We have to get faster on both sides of the ball. And did they ever, with Emmanuel Sanders and all the upgrades that you mentioned on defense? So I look at the Patriots, and we're going to talk about them, I think, pretty soon here. But again, they have to beat the Chicago Bears to have any shot here. And then they're going to have to, a week from Sunday, beat this team in Foxborough to have any chance of having home field advantage in the playoffs. Because if they have to, the Patriots go to Denver, I'm sorry, I'm out. I can't do it this time. I picked them to win there last year. They stunk it up. I told you, Tom Brady, I'm sorry, he stunk it up last year at Denver. Go ahead.
Let me modify that just a little bit, Skip. I would say to you, the reason why I just wouldn't just summarily dismissed New England in terms of if they were good enough, Skip, to get to another AFC Championship game and they had to go back to Denver?
Yeah.
What if there's a blizzard? You see what I'm saying? What if there's, I mean, the Patriots in inclement weather, I'm saying it is Denver. It is Denver,
okay,
and anything's possible. That's the only reason, because we all know that Peyton Manning in that weather, we don't know.
Speaking of Peyton Manning, I'm going to say this again. Is this possible? I'm watching a quarterback at age 38 getting better. Is it possible? To my eyes, he's better than ever. He's getting better.
Better than ever?
His arm strength is better than it was last year. Help me out here, but I'm seeing a guy playing the position at the highest level it has ever been played at. For this moment, right now, what I saw last night, that's unbeatable, man. He's making, just seems like every throw is right there or right there or right there. That bomb that he dropped to Emmanuel Sanders, it was just a thing of sweet beauty just right there. And Emmanuel Sanders, it is laughable what an upgrade he is over Eric Decker. It's just laughable to me because not only is he obviously faster, he is so dedicated to the cause. He is loving, he said he went to wide receiver heaven. He is loving playing for Peyton Manning as a student, learning under the great Peyton Manning. And you mentioned little Ronnie Hillman, Stephen A. Look at his last 3 games. He's gone 116, 103, 138. He's a little bullet coming out. They list him at 5'10", 195. I'm not even sure he's that big. But Monte Ball, I'm sorry, pal. I think you've lost your job when you get healthy. I think they found something here. And then on defense, they're on all the way up to the 5th-ranked defense now, and you mentioned Von Miller. Does he not look quicker?
He looks like svelte.
Like he's lost weight. He lost like 15 pounds from last year.
Wait a minute. Yeah, and it's not saying much, though, because he wasn't healthy. He wasn't healthy pretty much for the last year and a half. He hasn't been healthy. So whatever dissipation we saw in terms of his skill set, his speed, whatever the case may be, was due in large part to his health. He's healthy now, and I think that's all it is. But as it pertains to Peyton Manning, Skip, you know, you could talk about the velocity on his throws, and I think that that's what I'm seeing too. But remember, all of this was predicted when he was coming back from surgery, and when you heard from the doctor, they talked about, well, we'll see how he looks last year, but as it progresses, you will see him get stronger and stronger because of what he had to go through. Yeah. He wasn't going to be at full strength when he finally decided to come back. So I'm not surprised by the velocity. I definitely understand that he could look better. But, Skip, I'm not going to give as much credit to Peyton Manning for that as I'm going to give to the weapons he has at his disposal. I mean, Demaryius Thomas with Julius Thomas, with Wes Welker and Eric Decker were lethal enough to get to the Super Bowl. But then to upgrade it from Decker to Emmanuel Sanders, man, I can't say enough. I can't, as much as I love Peyton Manning and I love to see him do what he's doing, I can't sit there and just ignore the weapons that he has at his disposal. Those brothers are big time. They'd make a lot of quarterbacks look better than what they actually are. Not to say that applies to Peyton, but you know what I mean.
And quickly, on defense, is anybody noticing that Denver's Brandon Marshall is making us forget about Chicago's Brandon Marshall? Every time I look up, 54 is in the middle of another play. Seriously.
Well, I'm not going to go that far.
Well, I
mean, the name is the name, and he's balling. He's balling. He's all over the place. But he's not making us forget about Brandon Marshall. Jay Cutler is making us forget about Brandon Marshall.
Yes, you know that.
All right,
that's who's making us forget about Brandon Marshall.
Last quick point.
Okay, go.
With this momentum created now, this euphoria in Denver, not only is nationwide on Peyton's side, as we see in the commercial, but the referees seem to more and more be on Peyton's side. Am I right? Because what happened, it's 7-all in that game. Remember the kickoff, and the refs ruled it a fumble. Can we see that real quick? This is a fumble, and it gets overturned. It could have given San Diego the ball at the 26-yard line. Here it is, just real quick. This is the game-turning play. This is a fumble. The ball is coming loose before the elbow goes down. And all of a sudden, San Diego at 7-all is going to have the ball on Denver's 26-yard line. Well, now we could have a whole different discussion right now. But it seems like every break, including the Eric Weddle interception that got overturned by the defensive holding, they're getting every break many times from the referees.
Sure.
So I just want to make the point, it seems like the refs are also on Peyton's side as well as Nationwide.
As well as Nationwide.
Yes.
Well,
Just for
are they sponsoring us?
Well, they are now.
Okay.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we don't get anything from it.
No.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Stephen A.
Well, we need to. Well, first of all, we always need to get a piece of the action. It wouldn't bother me at all. That's number one. You know, being a capitalist that I am.
Yes, you are.
But number two, Skip. I will tell you. First of all, I'd like to see San Diego as the season wanes, particularly when Denver has to go to San Diego.
Yep.
I'd like to see the Indianapolis Colts as the season wanes. I'd like to see the Baltimore Ravens as the season wanes, not just New England. So again, you take look. We look at Denver. We like what we're seeing, and you know what? To be quite honest with you, I kind of hope that Peyton Manning, wins a Super Bowl before. I definitely hope he wins a Super Bowl before he retires, and I don't want him to retire just yet. So I wouldn't mind Denver not winning the Super Bowl again, so he could come back another year. But then again, he might come back even if they do win
and win another one.
The question is, are you rethinking your Super Bowl pick? Both of the gentlemen say yes, and that's because of the Broncos' dominance. They've won the last 4 straight games, outscoring their opponents by 18.5 points per game. That is extremely